Hey, what's going on everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com. I'm back today with another daily crypto update. Today we're going to talk about how the market is now struggling to move higher again, and as a consequence of that is now falling lower. A lot of cryptocurrencies down around 10% today over the past 24 hours. Pretty red across the board. Now we're going to cover everything in a more detailed technical analysis in just a second, and you'll see that we still have some support a little bit lower, but we're kind of back in our downtrend. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for live cryptocurrency market updates, and don't forget to check out my premium content. I'll have a link to both those things in the description of this video. And let's get started with the technical analysis, starting off with Bitcoin. So we can see that we came up on our blue downtrend line over here, and we faced a lot of resistance from that. We then fell quite a bit lower. So this has been a pattern that we've been in, since a little bit. You can see that we made a couple attempts to break out of this short-term downtrend line, and we've been struggling with that. The good thing is we did put in a bit of short-term support, so I will draw that back in right over here at around $6,500 is where we put in a bit of a low, and that corresponds pretty much in line to the previous candlestick back here. So we do have some support in that $6,500 area, but we still have a lot of resistance ahead, right? Because even above this blue downtrend line, we've got our middle band and previous levels that act as pretty strong resistance. So that's why a lot of cryptocurrencies are really struggling to move higher. And if they do move higher, they have a hard time making that last. So at this point, we're either going to break below $6,500 and start moving even lower, right? And that'll put us back into an attempt to go down to $5,000, maybe even $4,000. Hopefully, we manage to remain above $6,500, pop out of this blue downtrend line, and then maybe just consolidate between $6,500 and $8,000, right? As soon as we're able to get back above $8,000 and really hopefully pushing closer to $9,000, that's when we'll be in the clear as far as bullishness is concerned. But before that, we're going to face a lot of resistance, and our last chance before making another big drop lower is that 6,500 support level. So we need to make sure we don't drop below that. As for the indicators, we can see that we got a failed crossover on the MACD and histogram, and we didn't manage to break out of the RSI downtrend. So definitely some weakness there, no doubt about it. Let's take a look at Ethereum next and see what's going on. So we're going to go over to Coinbase here. Now Ethereum came up on that $419 resistance level. It is right in the process of getting that crossover on the MACD and histogram. We did pop out of the RSI downtrend line. With that being said, we didn't make our way back above that 30 line. And at this point, it's a little bit tricky. We have this tiny bit of resistance right here, a little bit below where the current price is, around $365. But I wouldn't expect that to act as that major support, right? At this point, we're even dipping slightly below the downtrend line again. I think that we could fall a little bit lower, closer to $330, maybe $300, and then I think we're going to start to see the Bollinger Bands flatten out a bit, right? Because that's already happening a little bit with the lower Bollinger Band, so that's what I think will happen. As for resistance, of course, a lot of resistance at around $450, and the red downtrend line especially. So those are going to be levels that we're going to have to look to get back above. But for now, we're probably going to consolidate, or even likely fall a little bit lower. Let's go ahead and take a look at Litecoin next, see what's going on. So Litecoin is still in this range between $100 and the red downtrend line. I think that's likely to continue for the time being. As for the indicators, didn't really manage to get any positive breakouts on the MACD and histogram. We did pop out of the RSI downtrend line, which is good. And now I think that we're going to be moving a little bit closer to that $110 mark. Very likely that we come back and test $100 at this point. And even if we get a drop below that, we could come and test this blue downtrend line right here, get a bounce off that. So have to be careful to not break below the blue downtrend line especially, and even going below $100 would be a little bit risky at this point, but definitely possible. So that blue downtrend line is our long-term major support that we don't want to dip below under any circumstances, because that will be very bearish. And for now, we'll just have to see. Probably going to get closer to that $100 mark over the next few days. Let's go over to Nano next. Nano was actually looking good. It managed to test that 80,000 Satoshi level again. That unfortunately didn't hold with the rest of the market falling lower. And we're now back below our short-term uptrend line. So at this point, it's not looking great again, right? We have a bit of support that we put in now, at around 70,000 satoshis, basically between 70,000 and 80,000 satoshis. I think at this point it's very likely that we come back towards that 70k level, and we could even dip below that, which would push us closer to 60 or even 50,000 satoshis. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Ripple next, see what's going on. So we're going to take a look at Bittrex here. And Ripple is moving back towards that 50-cent support level, actually slightly below that. It's coming up right on that resistance support right there. So as for the indicators, basically re-entering back into a downtrend, right? If I go ahead and extend this new line over here, you can see pretty clear downtrend. Probably going to go back towards that 30 line on the RSI. Indicators very flat, not giving us much information. I feel like we could consolidate a little bit longer in this range between 50 and 65 cents. But at this point, it looks like there is a chance that we start trickling down lower below 50 cents, and that could pretty quickly push us towards 30 cents. So we have to be careful with that. Let's take a look at our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be NEO, and let's see what NEO has been up to. NEO is currently moving back towards that $43 mark. Not very surprising. We never actually got a clear test of that, so I think that's going to happen. And as for the indicators, pretty bearish here. We're going much lower again on the RSI. It looks like we could dip back below the 30 line. It'd be good to get a bounce off that. Definitely possible with the $43 support level. But either way, we're definitely going to be kind of pushing the edge here. And, a drop below $43 could pretty quickly push us towards $30 or even $20, which would be the next big support level. So definitely going to come up on some resistance here over the next few days. And then we'll just have to see how strong we're acting once we reach that level. Let's take a look at Stellar Lumens next and see what's going on. So Stellar did end up dropping below 3,000 satoshis, and the indicators are all taking a bit of a hit here. We're still uptrending, but this isn't what we want to see, right? Now we're probably going to start a consolidation again between 2,500 and 3,000 satoshis. Next up, we have Vertcoin, which has been struggling definitely, and now we're pushing back lower, closer to that $1.54 level. I'm a little bit concerned that at this point we're putting in these lower lows, lower highs. I feel like it's pretty likely that we end up moving below $1.54 here unless the market is really able to hold up. I think Vertcoin is going to slip below that level, and then it's going to be the move towards $1, which is definitely not what we want to see. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next crypto, which is going to be Lisk, and see what Lisk has been up to. So Lisk is experiencing a very big red candlestick after our big breakout yesterday, basically shaving off all the gains that we made yesterday, and definitely struggling with that $10 mark. Not exactly surprising. That's also where the middle band is at, so that's added resistance right there. And as for the indicators, definitely made a bit of a rebound. Now they're falling back a bit lower. I think that we're probably going to come back closer to that $6.24 level, and then we'll have to see if we're able to hold above that. But for now, I'd expect some consolidation between $6.24 and $8. If the market is weak, probably going to move below $6.24. Let's take a look at Cardano next and see what's going on. So Cardano is actually acting pretty flat here, which is pretty decent compared to a lot of cryptocurrencies that are crashing lower basically. So right now the indicators are still holding up very well with a nice little uptrend that's continuing, and the price is basically just consolidating between 2,000 and 2,500 satoshis. Until we break either of those levels, I'd expect that consolidation to continue. We're going to go over to IOTA next for our last cryptocurrency of the daily crypto update. And we can see that IOTA is actually dipping below $1. That is not good news. That's unfortunately very bearish. And we don't have that much support, right? We have a little bit of support near 68 cents. But really, our next big support level is all the way below, down to 33 cents. So I think that we may get some support at around 60 cents, 50 cents. But if we move below that, next stop is 33 cents, unfortunately. This is the end of this daily crypto update. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out my premium content and my Twitter. Link to both those in the description, and I'll see you next time.